Hi guys, it's really nice to see you guys again. It's Millie. It's nice that I have the opportunity to share with you what I've been through, what my tiny observations of my past week here in Canada, sitting in this beautiful garden. Yeah, let's get into it. First, I want to talk about the spending. For last week, I spent $800 on my lease, and the other are like $400 or so on my daily expenses. On the good side is that I have developed kind of a habit of cooking at home. I have cooked every day last week in the apartment so that I didn't spend any money eat out because it's so expensive eating out. And I also think that being able to cook my own food, I can know exactly what I'm taking, like the protein, the veggies, everything. It's just a more healthy way for me to live my life. And secondly, for the workout part, I swim once and I go for running in the neighborhood twice. It's not like the best amount of workout this whole week, but I'm not like really into outside running, but it's just so beautiful out here. So I think that for me, I would really try to grasp the good weather outside now and try to run outdoor more. So yeah, and tomorrow I am starting school. I will use the facilities at school, including the gym, the swimming pool, more often to make the best of everything. Now we can talk about something more deep. My observations of the cultural differences from here, the Western society, and what we're having in China. So I just want to make sure that what I am trying to say is not that I'm trying to make a judgment about whether this culture is better than the other. Please, I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just trying to express my feelings, my thoughts. I'm not trying to say anything that's judgmental, no. So please don't misunderstood, okay? There are a few differences from what I observed. First, at school, during last week's orientation, which was the first time the new students gathered, the senior teachers, they gave out a speech. And then followed by the orientation was that we have free pizzas. So it is very interesting who is giving out the pizzas. It was kind of a senior management teacher. That's quite a surprise to me because that's not gonna happen. Like, if it's in a Chinese company giving out pizza, doing this kind of dirty work, cannot be the boss. So it will be like stuff like us, the basic ones who is doing this kind of jobs. So that is what makes it different. As students, we could have a more intimate communication with the senior levels of teachers. Yeah, and that's just makes it super different. And also the other thing that I've observed is one of the teachers in her email, she replied with, "Please don't expect me to answer any of your questions during my off work time. Let's just try to have work and life balance." This is written in her email, and I mean, I totally agree with that. I am a strong fan for the work-life balance thing. And this is something also quite different from what we're having in China, because in China, at workplace, everybody expects you to answer their work-related questions during your off work time. So I think the fundamental logic here is that We, as human, we have a life and we want to make the best of our lives, and work is just something that we do. It's not like the most important thing in our lives that we have to sacrifice our time with our families to reply work emails or whatever. Again, this is just my observation. I'm not trying to judge any of the culture, any of the things that's which is bad, which is better. It's just if I am giving a chance to choose, I would literally choose the Western way of their attitudes towards their work and life, because they've got a balance. And the third thing surprised me is that on a weekday morning, I was sitting on the bench of the school, and I see parents are dropping the kids to the school camp. And during the school camp, I believe that there are several classes, but mainly it's like athletic. It's just that the school is offering the kids playground that they can develop their interest in different categories of sports. And I mean, that's just also very different, because think about China, is that for all these kids during summertime vacations, they would go to shopping malls to learn stuff. From my perspective, this is also very different. In China, what we see or what we appreciate for a kid is for him to be good at study. What we appreciate for an adult is for him to be like over the top, be a boss, be a leader in the company, and that's all. But in the Western society, for a kid, I mean, he could be whatever he want to be. There are also kids dressing like a queen with a crown to the swimming pool. I mean, that's just the Western society. They are like encouraging the individual development. You know, whether this kid is good at swimming or good at football, whatever, it's just his own interest. Nobody's gonna judge that, and the parents are gonna support for that. And then when they're adults, I mean, work is just one aspect of life. And then, you know, if he's got other more things to do, like he's gonna take his kids out, he could go be a good dad, etc. It's just there are more evaluations for a kid and also for an adult here in the Western society. I think that's also more diverse than the Chinese culture. Also, what surprised me is that during my school's orientation, there are 2 teacher assistants who helped to put all of the materials in the goodie bag. During the orientation, the professor who gave out the speech said, let's give some applause for these 2 assistants who helped put things, and everybody applaud. I mean, this is something that's new to me, because you know, just doing these tiny things are appreciated here. But you know, I was back in China, kind of small little things are never appreciated for. I think that they value individuals so much. And, so the other day I received an email asking for my feedback about the certain kind of things at school. And then I replied, okay, you know, if you're available, I am open to talk about my feelings. And then the next day, the instructor just called me and asked me if I have time to talk. I mean, it's just that I feel here like everything I say, at least if I say it, there's gonna be feedback. It's not like in China, if I say something, it's just there's just the people listening to it are just, maybe they have too many informations every day's intake. They just don't really give a thing for my feelings. And then here they appreciate. So I think that's another difference. And also, what really made my day yesterday was that I went to a dog therapy session in a local library. And there was this tiny little girl, I think she's about 5 or 6 years old. And then when she was petting the dog, she looked at me. We were super close. And then she just stared into my eyes and she said, "You are so beautiful." And it's like I hardly ever listen to the praises like that because I'm not defined beautiful in my own society or like in my own mindset. That's not what I've grown up with. And I think for a little girl to say that I'm beautiful to my face is just something so sweet. And I mean, I do appreciate it. It's really, really heartwarming. And then there are also a few things that when I was in China, I thought it would be impossible for me to do, but now I do that. So the first is that I take bus transfers to outlets. For me, back then, I think you gotta drive your car to the outlets. You're not taking the bus and then wait for another bus to come and then take all of the stuff you bought back home and then you have to go transfer another bus. So yeah, I think that can be quite different, but you know, that's just what we do here. And overall this past week, I only cried once during a counseling session because you know, I want to do counseling. That's just something as a Chinese we're so unfamiliar with because like in China we always think that, okay, you know, I look healthy, I look happy, so I don't need to do a counseling. But now here I think that I would do it for a long term to try to figure out the relationship between my family and the way that I behave as adults, something like that. And because I am really into relationships, whether it's with my husband, with my parents, etc. So provided at school is just superb, so I will also make the best of it. So yeah, I mean, that's just my weekly recap, and I am hoping to do a weekly recap every week to tell you guys about the things that I've experienced, the learnings that I got. Hopefully I do it. And yeah, so that's almost it. I want to thank you guys for listening to my English. Maybe you are gonna find some mistakes, but whatever. And I'm in the progress of developing, so please bear me with that. And yeah, I will see you guys next week. Bye.